Yes, sir.
All right. Welcome to Intellicide, the
Hello,
first,
folks.
the first Wanda, or not WandaVision. We're not doing WandaVision anymore. It's Falcon and Winter
No.
Soldier.
Yes, sir.
Spoilers ahead.
Yeah, if you haven't watched it, don't listen until after you've watched.
Yeah. So, what was your first thought?
I mean, mixed emotions again, man. Especially after I've read some things about, that this show may only be a one season thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the what I don't like is when you talk, people like the producers, directors are being interviewed and they say, this is like a 6 hour movie
Right.
because it's only supposed to be 6 episodes. While I do enjoy the added characterization of these characters that we really didn't see a lot of with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier,
Mm-hmm.
it just, it's one of those things where, we talked about this with WandaVision. I'm looking for more. I mean, granted that this is going to take place after, one of the movies, and it's probably going to set up, other movies or whatever. But I just think that they're really selling individuals like myself who want to see more of these characters and more of the fleshing out of the characters that we're being sold short.
Yeah.
So like I have to temper my excitement level somewhat because I don't want to get roped into something where it's like that was great, but that's all you
Just
get.
wanting more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if we'll ever get that lengthy of a show from
Yeah.
Disney and from the Marvel universe anyway. The Marvel Cinematic Universe, like you said, it's cinematic, right? So a
Right.
lot of these people are going to be signed for movie type deals or,
Right.
um, more limited engagement probably.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's the kind of thing I imagine if it continues to be popular, they probably will bring in something along those lines, like they did with Netflix using some less popular characters. You might see I think it would be cool to have like a Misty Night show or,
Oh, absolutely. Well, this is the thing. So the young lady that played Misty Knight in the Netflix show,
Mhm.
she's now doing that All Rise show. Same thing with the guy that played Luke Cage, Mike Coulter. He's now playing in that Evil show, and it's been
Mhm.
picked up for season 2. So,
Right.
yes, I agree with you that individuals like
Well,
Robert Downey
not with
Jr.
those exact actors, but yeah.
Right. Well, again, it's one of those things where if you were to sign someone to say, okay, and this is right, this is Anthony Mackie and what's his name, Stan,
It's uh, Sebastian Stan. Thank you.
Sebastian Stan.
Yes.
If you were to approach, individuals like that, and I'm not gonna say they're bit players, but they're more supporting cast than anything else. If
Mhm.
you approach them and say, hey, we're looking for you to be in X amount of movies plus X amount of television shows, and we'll give you, for your appearance in the the movies, we'll give you 15 million, and then for X amount of seasons of the television show, we'll give you X amount of dollars if it proves popular enough.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm sure that someone like Anthony Mackie, I mean, now his star has risen over the past few years. He was in the Carbon show on Netflix
Mhm.
and stuff like that. So right, I don't expect him to take a minuscule amount of money, but you lock people up to long-term deals in the beginning before hey, we're making $1 billion on this.
Well, I mean, this is the reason why soaps don't sign big actors. Soaps are where actors start, right? It's like an entry level kind of thing because you don't know if it's going to be any good.
No,
They
right,
don't pay them
right,
that well. I mean, soap
right.
stars generally don't make that much.
Well, right,
When
but
I lived in California, I actually used to wait tables with somebody who starred in a soap.
look
I
at
don't know which one, but
look at the show Friends. So when that show first started out, none of those individuals were big time stars like that.
right.
So the show went on for what, 9, 10 seasons.
Yeah.
And by the last few seasons, each of those individuals was making $1 million per episode.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
No. So okay. So so what did you think of what they did give us though?
Oh, I listen. You know, again, they have some high production values.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
during
that
first 10-15 minutes. That
was oh yeah, it was
movie level.
Action. Yes, it was. You know, it's splendid. So I loved it. I love the family drama between Falcon and Sam and his sister.
Yeah,
you know, trying to save the family business.
Yeah.
Can
I ask a question? So I really like Sam. You know, Anthony Mackie, his portrayal of Falcon and everything. I just have like one question that keeps like bugging me about. So I get he was in the military and he was like special forces using the Falcon wings, right? But like Cap met him when he was out of the military. Right. And he was doing the support group for people who are out of the military.
Right.
How did he get to keep the wings? Generally speaking, the military doesn't let you keep
he didn't. They stole them. If you remember in that Winter Soldier film, he said, he shows them the file and says the last, set of wings are at such and such a base. And so they basically stole the wings. So, that's one of those things that maybe the show will fill out.
Right.
Maybe Cap, threw his cloud around, or someone higher up said, well, you can keep them.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And especially if they
that actually makes it a little bit more funny that he's like, I don't want the shield because I feel like it belongs to somebody else.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But the wings. Yeah. You're right. I enjoyed the show, man. I did, but again, it's one of those things where I want more. Everything they've shown me, I want more.
I really like what they've given us so far. I really like Sebastian Stan's, like the Winter Soldiers, his whole arc. I thought it was pretty cool. Like they threw in little Easter eggs, like when Sam and Cap met, when Sam and Steve first meet, when they're out jogging.
Yep.
They have a conversation where they talk about how neither of them can sleep in beds because of their experience being soldiers, that they were too soft, so they sleep on the floor. Yep. And then after you see Sebastian Stan wake up from his nightmare, he is also sleeping on the floor.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where you kind of get this idea that the three of them kind of share experiences, that there are experiences that Sam and Bucky share that they haven't, that they will eventually, I hope, bond over.
Right.
But that whole thing with his list of trying to make amends.
Right. Yeah. That's good.
That was really good.
Well, right. But that's what I'm saying. That's one of those things where in a film, in an hour and a half, 90-minute to 120-minute film, you're not going to be able to explore all of those things,
right,
or whatever. And so in a television show, and especially concentrated on these two characters, you can show all of that stuff. You can show how, Sam, you weren't here even before the blip, and you were gone during the blip, but
before then he'd already taken off,
right? And so now he's coming back and he's trying to get involved, but it's there's love, but there's also some animosity. There's some, hey, I was sitting here in the trenches and you were, going and doing your own thing.
I thought, personally, I really loved the writing just in the family dynamic was great between him and his sister, and the fact that he comes in, he wants to help, he wants to be the hero. She's kind of had it with his shit. She's like, oh, let me guess, you want to be the hero.
Right.
But then the whole thing where he's a celebrity, he's a veteran.
Yep.
He used to play sports.
Yep.
None of that mattered for shit when he needed to go get a loan, right? And then the loan officer has the audacity to ask him for a selfie.
Right.
When he tells him no.
Right. Yeah. And another thing that I like was you have, I don't know, half the population of the earth disappears.
Right.
That's going to change economies. That's going to change.
That's something I was really wondering about when they did the Spider-Man movie. It's like the earth seems really normal for having all those people suddenly come back.
Right. Yeah. And so, you caught a glimpse of it, when Monica came back in WandaVision or whatever. But they didn't concentrate on, hey, you don't have a work history for the last 5 years, dude, I was gone, like
Right.
literally just wiped out of existence.
Yeah. Yeah, you would think there would be like, I mean, with that having happened, there had to have been like laws or state of emergencies passed saying like, look, you can't like,
You would
deny
think,
these people based on that lack of a
right,
work history because they didn't exist,
right, yeah. I
Because
mean,
Congress would have blipped out, right? So they would
yeah,
have come back and they would have faced the same kind of thing, right?
maybe that's why they didn't get the legislation passed.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, good point. Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, that kind of stuff I love. I really do want to see some more or whatever. I'm just, I don't want to get my hopes up, man, because like I said, after these 6 hours are done and we only have 5 more left, it's like,
well,
we have to wait or whatever,
I mean, rather than focus on what we don't have, I'm going to focus on being grateful for what we do.
I hear you.
I'm glad that they're doing this just so that we do get to spend more time with these characters, because those were so like I mean those were characters that I did want to see more of, right? But like you said, in a movie you can't, right? Especially in an ensemble movie like the Avengers or something,
right?
But like there was a throwaway line in Civil War that I really liked, that where when Iron Man's fighting Bucky and Bucky says, I remember every single one of them, like all the people that he killed. He's like, I remember all of them.
Right.
And I remember thinking when I was watching that, that's got to really mess with him, right?
Yeah.
Like this show really gets a chance to explore that, right?
Right. Yep.
He didn't black out when all that happened. He remembers what happened, and it's all just.
Yeah. And the whole subplot with him, and he's grown attached to this the father of one of his victims, and the father has some kind of affection for him now, right? So how is that gonna change that dynamic when he finds out, like, hey, this is my son's killer right here?
I mean, I thought he was about to tell him.
Yeah.
I thought in that moment when he goes back, he leaves his date,
right,
and he just I mean, because every time the guy talks about it, it's like you can see it's like eating at him,
right?
I mean, I understand, like, he's looking for, I don't know. I mean, like, he's not going to get forgiveness. He's not going to. I'm like,
I mean, listen, because I'm trying to think, who would it be more cathartic for? Would it be more cathartic for him to tell, and like, okay, I don't have to worry about that anymore, or would it be more cathartic for the father to find out, like, okay, yes, now I can let it go? And so, that's, to me, that's good storytelling and writing or whatever.
I mean, so should he tell him? I'm of the opinion no.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion no as well. I mean, it's got to eat at him or whatever. But again, this man has been living with this, for so long or whatever. And to me, he's developed a friendship with Bucky. I mean, if he wouldn't have never entered his life or whatever, like now he has someone, and I'm not gonna say that he's gonna say, like, okay, this is now my son, but maybe it's it's like a foster son, like, hey, this is someone I've grown attached to. Now you're gonna take that away from him as well,
right? Yeah,
so.
That's true. Almost doubly cruel. Yeah,
exactly. So that that's where I'm like, I hope he doesn't tell him or whatever. But yeah, those little nuances right there. Even the the part about dating, like, this is a guy that he hasn't grown up in this time. He hasn't gotten to know the ins and outs of socializing in 2021 or whatever. So he's still a 1940s type of guy. And so how do you date in that kind of
he's still 100 years old, right?
Yeah, like when he told the lady.
Well, I mean, so the man, I think, so like at first I started thinking about it, he's told her he was like 128 years old or something like that. I'm like, well, okay, that doesn't quite line up, because that would put him like way older than he was, but like he's probably about 100 years old.
Well, okay, let's say he was 18 and 19. Well, let's say 22. Let's say he was 22 in 1940, whatever. So
Okay, so
you
he
know,
would have been born around 1918.
give it, yeah, right. Okay, so you know,
So he's
yeah,
probably about 100, little over 100 years old.
yeah, so
So I mean, I think he was being a little bit snarky, but
right,
the fact that there was some truth behind that,
right.
like,
I mean, like even if he would have said, "Yeah, I'm 101," I mean,
right,
she would have looked at him like,
right,
"What?"
yeah, true.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it
It
is.
is
It's
funny because
great.
it is one of those. I mean, it's the same kind of dilemma that Steve had, right?
Hmm.
Like in geez, I don't remember which one it was. And I think it was actually Winter Soldier when Black Widow's getting on Steve's case about dating, and she's
Yeah,
trying to get him
yeah,
to go out with Sharon Carter, and
yeah.
yeah, it's the same kind of thing where he's. I bet you by the end, I predict that Sam will be pushing him to
He may.
date.
He may. I mean, we'll see, man. I can't wait to see Sharon Carter.
Yeah,
When she shows up, and that's one of the things that, like when she shows up, like she could get a show. Like you could have a Sharon Carter show,
yeah.
Agent of
Oh yeah,
Shield or
totally.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
So we'll see, man.
I would love to see that.
Oh yeah, I would too.
I mean, it's almost too bad that they didn't have this Disney Plus back when they were doing like Agents of Shield and all that, because that could have all stayed canon,
Right.
like if it was all done in house. But you know,
Well,
still,
again, there's limitations and constraints on you when you have to wait for the movies and you can't reveal too much.
right. Well, I mean, it's easier if it's all done in the same company than if
It
it's a
is
different studio doing the TV show and you're doing the
right,
movies, and then you're not even
right,
talking.
right. But again,
Yeah,
with these shows being almost like limited series or
yeah,
whatever, like hey, we're one and done,
right,
and you're setting up for another movie. You don't have to worry about that so much. Whereas with Marvel Agents of Shield, they were releasing seasons, and like, hey, the next movie's not due out for another 4 or 5 months
right.
or whatever. So that's where I'm saying that if you were to concentrate on characters such as Sharon Carter, matter of fact, even this new Black Widow,
Mhm.
that's supposed to,
Well, how about Agent Torres, Joaquin Torres?
yeah, yeah,
He's actually he's the other Falcon in
yeah,
the comics.
yeah. I listen. There's so much that they could explore, man.
Mhm.
I wish someone would look at it like that. Hey, look, I love the Mandalorian,
Mhm.
but you see what you can do with a continual season or whatever, and hey, we're just going to develop this character over multiple seasons. That's what I want to see for the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Mhm. You got to find a character. I mean, it's funny because there are certain characters that I would like to see more of, but they just can't. Like, I know they'll never do a Captain America long-running TV series, right?
No,
Even though I'd
yeah,
love to spend more time with that character and see,
right. Well,
but
listen,
like it's the same kind of thing with Sam and Bucky. Like,
okay, I'll give you this. Miles Morales.
yep,
You can make a continued show
yeah,
off of that character. And I mean, you're right. He's Spider-Man or a Spider-Man,
hmm,
but he's very, new, relatively
right,
new,
hmm,
and you can create that canon that way.
yeah.
Kamala Khan,
They're already doing something with her, actually.
well, they are,
There's
but
a show,
but
yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Will it be a one shot like these series, or will it
Right,
be an ongoing,
right.
season? You know,
That's a good question. I was wondering about some of those shows too, because yeah,
right,
they are coming out with um, more series. They called them a series when they announced them, but now that
right,
I've seen like WandaVision and Falcon and Winter
right.
Soldier, it's like, well, okay, your idea of a series isn't what I was thinking when you said
Right,
series.
exactly.
Yeah,
So,
more of a mini
even
series.
even if you wanted to bring in, dude, you know how many people would flip over a show like a Silver Surfer show?
Oh man, could you imagine the production value? I mean, I would love
Oh,
that personally. I would
oh
love
yeah,
that, but the
right,
production value on a Silver
right,
Surfer show,
right,
man, that would be
dude.
great though.
Yes, people would love it, man. People
But
would
it's one of
love
those
it.
things though that that they've got to have like for the movies. you know, because the Silver Surfer show, you can't do the Silver Surfer without Galactus.
Right.
And I doubt they're going to want to introduce him before they do the Fantastic Four and all that.
Yeah. I'm just throwing characters out there. If you were to think about characters that they could have,
So, like, I would love to see personally, and this is just me, like Jimmy Woo in the Agents of Atlas.
Yes.
Or actually, they could like modernize it a little more. So the Jimmy Woo and the Agents of Atlas was more like a I mean, I read it when I was a kid in the 80s, whatever, but like if you were to do like the Agents of Wakanda, like Jimmy Woo and the Agents of Wakanda.
Right.
Like, I don't know if you ever read any of that series.
No.
Agents of Wakanda was really cool. It was kind of like, what if S.H.I.E.L.D. had like the technology and funding from Wakanda? Like it was being like S.H.I.E.L.D.'s kind of run out of the United States, right? Like it's kind of back by the United. But what if Wakanda did that? And they had like their capabilities behind a group like that.
Right.
Like the super science and the advanced, you know, that would be, it's even better, you know.
Well, right. And so, you know, so you can have that. You can, I mean, it's just a wealth of characters, man. And I get it that, you know, like, right, they're concentrating on the movies, but and we talked about this in the past before.
Well, it's just a matter of, you can do those series, you just have to do it without stepping on the movies.
Right. But, you know, I told you before when you know, the movies were now becoming what we consider canon over the comics.
Right.
Or whatever.
And we've talked about that before. The comics used to be like where all the content came from and stuff.
Yeah.
And it still kind of is.
It is.
But you're right, though. I mean, it's a secondary business now. They really just use it as a clearinghouse for ideas, which is cool.
Right. Exactly. Well, I mean, right. The movies bring in so much more than the comics. I mean, you know, if you just want to take out like, you know, like over their entire history of comics, then maybe you might be entering into $1 billion.
Right.
You know, maybe. You know, but you know, you release one movie and hey, that's $1 billion, then this movie's $1 billion.
Yeah.
So I understand that, but you know, like I said before, the fan base that has, you know, been there over the years and that drive these revenues for the most part are that fan base that read those comics, you know, for 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
And I, you know, like they'll be there if you give them the content that they want, the characters that they love.
So it's interesting that one of the things I really liked about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier is the fact that they're dealing with that whole with racism is a subtext, right? Like Sam doesn't feel worthy of the shield, so he gives it up to the Smithsonian.
Right.
What do? They turn around and give it to the white guy.
Yeah. They didn't even ask him like, hey, can you you know, use the shield? Right. Can you become the new Captain America? No, it was just like
it's one of those things actually. Like Tony Stark's dad made it. Technically, it belonged to him.
Right.
They gave it to Steve Rogers.
Right.
Like the last thing, Tony Stark gave the shield to Steve Rogers. It was Steve Rogers' shield. Steve Rogers personally gave it to Sam, said it's your shield now.
Right.
It's his shield.
Right.
It belongs to him.
Yep.
But like if they took it and give it to some other guy,
Well, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how, you know, he's going to play that out and, you know, get the shield back and everything.
So, the other thing, too, I'm wondering if they're going to bring into this is in the comics, the guy, John Walker, who plays the U.S. agent, got his powers through a guy called the Power Broker.
Yep.
Who is which would be a really interesting character to bring in this post-blip world where he's a guy who's just like selling superpowers to people. He can give you superpowers for enough money.
Well, now they've introduced this mystery group that we don't know who they are. That definitely could have been, you know, caused by the Power Broker.
Right.
And so like, you know, anyone who knows who John Walker is and his backstory, you know, we're about to, you know, get into some mess if they hold true to that story. You know.
It was I will say one other thing. I was really happy to see Batroc the Leaper again.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool that they brought him back again.
It was.
I mean, he's such a ridiculous character. I love that they put him in the movie.
Oh yeah. They got so many characters in the cupboards, man, to you know, do with. And with the US agent or whatever they call them, you know, later on. Which I hope they do
the name Flag Smasher.
No, Flag Smasher was someone else.
Was it? Okay.
He you know, because the original Captain America took up the name Captain or whatever, and then John Walker, after his stint of Captain America, took that identity and then changed it to U.S. Agent.
Right.
But yeah, they can introduce. I hope that they introduce maybe the West Coast Avengers. That would be cool.
White Vision.
Yeah, yeah. I'm hoping, man. We'll see. So, we'll have to wrap it up, man.
That would actually be a great cameo though for the future for White Vision to show up in this series.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
All right, man. Yeah, this has been great though. Okay, so real quick, out of 5 stars, what do you give it?
I'm gonna give it a 4. Like I said, I enjoyed the production values. I enjoyed the storyline. Even though I was, I have some disappointment. I'm not gonna allow that to, affect the review. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I give it a 4.
Yeah. So go watch it. Continue to, watch. Come back here.
Feel free, comment, like, and subscribe on the video, and then leave a comment. Let us know what you thought of it.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right, man.
Intellicide signing off.
Yes, sir. See you next time.